nice if they did the Diamondbacks. I don't know if we picked that or
No,
that the
Joe
principal
does.
does.
But Joe does. But
He was okay with that.
he wanted to in the same the gray teacher's lights.
So just take a picture, send it to me.
True. True. He's on the way.
Not much, Joe. How are you?
Okay.
Are you gonna pull G1?
Yeah, you want me to do it or you gonna do it?
No, you can do it. I'm cool with it. I don't know if you got the discussion. I don't think they need it.
G1?
Yeah, G1.
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 You want me to do it?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that. I'm good with it.
Okay, y'all ready?
He's still coming.
He's on his way. Yes. Good evening. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. This meeting of the Board of Trustees of Socorro ISD is being called to order. The time is 6 o'clock. Tonight, our Pledge of Allegiance is being led by Leanne McCormick, a fifth grader at Paso del Norte. If y'all will all stand and join us, please. Leanne?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Leanne, thank you so much. Great job. Item number 3, Superintendent's comments. Dr. Espinosa.
Yes, President Nájera, members of the board, SISD prides itself in hiring exceptional leaders in order to continue to move our school district forward. The newest members of our elite leadership team are with us tonight, and all of them have some top-notch talent. So we're very excited about the great impact they'll have on our students and community. So when I call your name, please stand to be recognized. Starting off with our new Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Ms. Cynthia Retana. New Director of Bilingual Education, Ms. Veronica Reyes. New Principal at Mission Early College High School is Mr. Benjamin Ortega. New Principal at El Dorado High School, Vanessa Betancourt. New Assistant Principal at El Dorado High School is Miss Tanya Vega. And new Assistant Principal at Antwine Elementary, Miss Erica Cabral. Congratulations to all of our new leaders. Also have some more great news for SISD, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that only two marching bands, 6A marching bands, advanced to state competition, and both of the bands were from Socorro ISD. Montwood High School and Pebble Hills High School marching bands went to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas, and represented all of West Texas, from Odessa, I believe, to Lubbock, Amarillo, in San Antonio last Monday. And I was able to go to San Antonio with Ms. Macias and Ms. Grose, and watch our kids compete against the very best bands in the state of Texas, from Houston to Dallas to South Texas, Corpus, from Austin, San Antonio, all over. So I do want to thank Trustee Tony Ayub for also making the trip to San Antonio to support our fine arts students. Both Montwood High School and also Pebble Hills High School students did an amazing job on that field at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And we will be recognizing Pebble Hills band students tonight, and we're going to be recognizing Montwood band students at our next board meeting, because when you got two bands, it's kind of hard to recognize them all at one time. We'd be here all night, right? But congratulations to both bands for their outstanding achievement. I'd also like to acknowledge and congratulate our fine arts director. I saw him earlier. I don't know where he's at. Where's Mr. Armando Martinez? Where are you at, Armando? Hopefully he's not even in here. He's outside helping with the Pebble Hills bands. Armando, Janet Lynch, Mr. Rompingor, Mr. Macca Jones, and I'm probably missing some people, several individuals, the band directors. I mean, what a team effort. Great, great job. Can we give them one more? And I don't know in a while, Mr. Ayub, because he was there. What was also amazing about it is seeing our parents who drove from El Paso, Texas to San Antonio. Everybody got something in here, right? I think we were the loudest crowd out there, right? I think El Paso, Socorro, Pebble Hills, and Montwood. Thank you so much, parents. It was so great. I saw many of you out there. There was somebody in the truck, and they opened it up. Hey, Dr. Espinosa, their truck's just all with stuff like they've been on the road. There was snacks that were open, everything, dirt on. It was pretty cool. So thank you so much to the best parents in the state of Texas. So thank you. Now it's hard to believe that we're already in the holiday season. So time flies when we are having fun. I want to wish everyone here in Team SISD a safe and happy Thanksgiving. I'd like to remind everyone that our district will be closed November 19th through the 23rd, so enjoy much deserved time off with your family and friends. We also have our Fandom Comic Expo on Saturday, December 1st at Eastlake High School. I encourage our community to take your kids and enjoy that great entertainment. Again, it's the Fandom Comic Expo. President Nájera, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Espinosa. And we'll move on to item number 4, board honors. Mr. Escobar.
Good evening, President Nájera, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Espinosa. My name is Daniel Escobar, Chief Communications Officer for the district, and it is my pleasure to introduce tonight's recognitions. If you will please come down to receive our honorees. Our first recognition is for an El Dorado High School student for winning first place in the 2018 Chalk the Block Art Contest. Chalk the Block is one of El Paso's premier events, drawing more than 38,000 people annually. This year, the art festival showcased more than 200 chalk masterpieces created by artists from around the city and country. In addition to winning first place in their respective category, this Aztec took home a prize of $650. Congratulations to this talented student, who is Angel Arzola. He is joined by his teacher, Allison Vega. If we can have the two of you please return to the center there for a photo with our superintendent and board of trustees. And just a quick note that the photos taken by our district photographer, Mr. Largo, will be posted on the district's SmugMug account. There's a camera icon on the bottom right-hand button of our webpage where these photos are available for free high-resolution download. Congratulations once again. Our next honor will recognize two Eastlake High School students for placing in the 2018 El Paso Police Department Art Contest, which was held in conjunction with the International Association of Law Enforcement Planners Conference. The contest theme was Bridging Borders, and the entries showcased their interaction, cooperation, and partnerships of law enforcement officers with community members and local organizations. The art was judged by EPPD officers and other law enforcement professionals. Congratulations to these amazing artists. They are from Eastlake High School, Viviana Cadena, and Ashley Acosta. If we can please have the two of you back up front for a photo. Congratulations once again. Next, we honor 4 Eastlake High School cross-country athletes who qualified and competed in the UIL State Cross Country Meet. 3 of these runners are seniors and 1 is a freshman. All 4 Falcons excelled at every meet and finished at the top of the season. They hold individual records for being a 2-time state qualifier, having the fastest times in the 5K and 3-mile race, and being the first boys at the school to qualify for state. Congratulations to these Eastlake cross-country state qualifiers. They are... Yes, a round of applause, please, as we begin to introduce them. Ariel Garcia. Amaris Chavez. Israel David. Carlos Armendariz. Assistant Coach Christina Applegate. And their head coach is Keith Quinones. Congratulations once again. Our next recognition is for the America's High School Boys Varsity Cross Country Team for winning the 2018 District 6A Cross Country Championship and qualifying for the UIL state competition. This amazing group of athletes made history by becoming the first ever cross country team from their school to qualify for state. They shined the spotlight on Team SISD while competing against some of the best cross-country programs in Texas. Congratulations to these student athletes. They are Seth Andrade, Carmelo Corral, Alec Duran, Gage Garcia, Jared Laverty, Tyler Rodriguez, Jacob Jacob Yee, Assistant Coach Victor Ruiz, and they're led by Head Coach Ken Lucero. Congratulations once again. Next, we will recognize the El Dorado High School varsity volleyball team for winning their first ever district championship and also claiming a 5A by-district title. The Lady Aztecs were one of the most successful teams in the region, ranking in the top 20 5A volleyball poll for 7 weeks. The team conquered and finished with a district record of 18-0 and an overall record of 34-9. Congratulations to these championship Aztecs. Representing the team tonight are Paige McGriff, Sarah Marquez, Brianna Valdez, Taylor McCormick, Leah Arias, Madison Hill, Andrea Estrada, Jacqueline Paz, Nicole Perches, and their head coach is Roel de Anda. Congratulations once again. Next, we recognize the Montwood High School varsity volleyball team for finishing an excellent season with a UIL 6A by-district championship. The team conquered their opponents and finished in first place at the Riverside Tournament and as semifinalists in the 2018 West Texas Bike Fest. They ended it with a record of 26-10. Congratulations to these championship Rams. They are Amber Sierra, Suzette Ramos, Nadia Kern, Anika Fatorini, Gia Yepes, America Rubio, Cassandra Rodriguez, Brianna Granados, Danielle Gomez, Samantha Chavez, Angela Almeida, Samantha Sierra, Blanca Arciniega, Janice Long, assistant coach. And head coach Eunice Sherman. They're dropping out, huh? Okay. Our next recognition is for Team SISD counseling teams for going above and beyond to run effective programs and winning 2018 Lone Star Counseling Award from the Lone Star State School Counseling Association. Of the 30 award winners in the state of Texas, 14 were from SISD. These awards have 3 categories: gold, silver, and bronze. Each level is met with increased levels of rigor designed to elevate school counseling programs to national recognition through the American School Counselor Association RAMP Awards. Our SISD counseling teams were recognized in all 3 categories. Congratulations once again to these amazing counseling teams. We'll begin with our bronze award winners from John Enzer Middle School, Mary Acevedo. Jennifer Madrid. Belinda Ortega. From Waco Elementary, Rosie Frausto. From Mission Ridge Elementary, Ruth Harris. And Albert Mendoza. From Puentes Middle School, Alice Gardea. Esmeralda Armendariz. And Oscar McClure. Continuing with our silver award winners from Bill Seibert School, Laura Dominguez. Virginia Bueno. Aida Vasquez. From Chester Jordan Elementary, Yvette Herrera. And Rosie Rodriguez. From Herschel Antoine Elementary, Amanda Bustamante. From John Drugan School, Angie Aldana. Erica Gonzalez. And Vanessa Rendon. From Lujan Chavez Elementary, Paola Figueroa. And Ivan Padilla Alvarez. From Purple Heart Elementary, B. Isa. And Arturo Escajeda. Our gold award winners are from Hernando Middle School, Mireya Reyes. Iris Parra. And Joyce Rivera. From Ituarte Elementary, Melissa Galvez. And Raquel Fraga. From Helen Ball Elementary, Maria Washington. And from Paso del Norte School, Joe Jennifer Chabre. And Monica Flores. We can have one more round of applause for all these amazing school counselors as they come forward for a photo. Just look straight forward in the center, right at Octavius, and keep smiling. Congratulations once again. For our next presentation, we have the honor of presenting our Years of Service Awards to honor Team SISD employees who are celebrating a milestone year in our district. These valuable members of Team SISD have served our district for 25, 30, 35, and 40 years. During their time in SISD, they have observed the growth of the district in schools and student population. Today, they help us serve more than 46,800 students in 48 campuses across SISD, the second largest district in the region. We truly appreciate their loyalty, support, and commitment to our students and schools. First, we will honor employees celebrating 25 years of service. These amazing educators started working in SISD in 1993 when the district had 16 schools and 16,800 students. Back then, a movie ticket cost only $4. A famous quote was, "Got milk?" And the Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl. It was definitely a year to remember, especially for these amazing Team SISD employees embarking on their journey of what is now a quarter-century successful career as members of Team SISD. Recognizing employees for 25 years, we'll begin with Teresa Chacon from Transportation. Jose Covarrubias from our District Operations team. Corina Gomez from Horizon Heights Elementary. Laura Juarez from Myrtle Cooper. Janet Lynch from Fine Arts. Jody Miranda from Instructional Technology. Stephen Morrill from America's High School. Alfonso Olaiz from Socorro High School. Eleonora Stevens from HD Hilly. Carolyn Leslie Thomas from our new elementary school number 30. Melissa Galvez from Ituarte Elementary. And Rosemary Yates from Elfida P. Chavez. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will please return to the front for a photo with our board and superintendent. Congratulations once again, and thank you for your service. Convenient. Next, we will recognize SISD employees who have 30 years with the district. These valuable members joined the team in 1988 when the district had 11 schools and some 10,000 students. That year, SISD called for a $50 million bond to build Montwood High School, 3 middle schools, and 2 elementary schools. Some of the most influential songs at the time were It Takes Two by Rob Bass and Push It by Salt and Pepper. 1988 also was the year George H.W. Bush won the presidential election. Since then, we've had amazing success and great times with these wonderful employees in our team. Celebrating 30 years of service in Team SISD are Corina Avila from Ituarte Elementary and David Zavala from Horizon Heights. Yes, sir. Congratulations once again. Now, we will recognize 2 SISD employees who've dedicated 35 years of their life to Team SISD. Absolutely. These valuable members joined SISD in 1983 when the district had a student population of 6,731 students and 7 campuses. In 1983, a gallon of milk was $1.35. The latest technology invention was a computer mouse, and the in thing to do was showing off your breakdancing moves. Thank you so much for devoting 35 years of talent, passion, and love to SISD. Celebrating 35 years with SISD from District Operations, Alfredo Almanzar. And from our warehouse team, Maria Orozco. They'll be joining the board and superintendent for a photo. Congratulations once again. Our final Years of Service Award is for an employee who joined Team SISD 4 decades ago in 1978. At the time, SISD had 5 schools, a student enrollment of 3,635 students, and less than 400 employees, and Mr. Gandara was born. That was the year Socorro Junior High School opened next to Socorro High School. 2 important inventions that year were the first artificial heart and the world's first car phone, now referred to as a cell phone. What a ride it's been for this employee in Team SISD. Celebrating 40 years with us and our family, Rebecca Alejo from Ernesto Serna School. Our final recognition this evening is in honor of the Pebble Hills High School Marching Band for their advancement to the UIL Class 6A state contest. The Young Spartan Band, which is 220 members strong, won first place at the regional contest in October. Now you can see why we can't bring both bands at the same time. Logistically, they don't fit. They deleted the competition, fans from all over the region with their piece, The Promise of Life. The group then went on to represent Team SISD and all West Texas at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, where they performed in front of hundreds of fans and competed amongst the best of the best 6A Texas bands. We're going to do this a little bit different. The band will be introduced, and parents, so you know, they'll exit out, where we're going to take their group photo with the board members outside. Again, there's roughly 100 of them here today. We will not be able to accommodate them all here. So just so you know, they'll be exiting. We'll take the band photo outside on our stairwell. So the championship Spartans joining us and representing their band tonight are Ethan Martinez, Naomi Mesa, Andres Romero, Osvaldo Rubio, Iris Aguirre, Paola Barrios, Victoria Aleman, Alan Belmonte, Vianey Centeno. Elisa Lopez. Ayana Muñoz. Carolina Ortega. Dayanara Granados. Noreen Lopez. Angel Miramontes. Nathan Orozco. Jesus Valles. Alyssa Bernhardt. Angel Avila. Daralis Colon. Anaí Gonzalez. Anthony Chavez. Moriah Hall. Rafael Murga. Clarisa Flores. Ricardo Méndez. Andrea Cázares. Skylar Koval. Jaden Young Lopez. Carlos Paz. Paola Rodriguez Caro. Devin Herrera. Joseph Zapp. Desiree Sandate. Joey Lopez. Andrea Ramirez. Juan Armendariz. Karina Contreras. Nicolás López. Alani Martinez. Alyssa Rodriguez. Andrew Marquez. James Lechuga. Mia Villalobos Zamora. Andrés Alvarado. Daniel Hiram. Matthew Wenzel. Luis Zaragoza. Ricardo Méndez. Mario Solano. Adrian Luna. Isaac Santillan. Jay Quemado. Isabel Suárez. Daniel Tellez. Gabriel Hoy. Gabriel Gutierrez. Manuel Ayala. Michael Sangerhausen. Diego Delgado. Isaac Dávila. Kayla Primero. Ernesto Aponte Fernández. Brandon Olazaba. Brian Caldera. Enrique Sánchez. Eric Gutierrez Ochoa. Andre Leiva. Ruben Lee. Evan Swanson. Israel Vasquez. Axel Aguilar. Alexis Alvarez. Matthew Bermudez. Jonathan Gardea. Titus Gale. April Lechuga. Mystique Garza. Anthony Gonzalez. Sofía Loera. Samuel Marcel. Matthew Piñon. Hope Parra. Ray Lopez. Claribel Barraza. Abriel Contreras. Alexandria Cordova. Gracie Cordova. Haley Esqueda. Jasmine Orozco. Allison Treviño. Annalise Valdez. Destiny Howard. Vanessa Martinez. Adriana Bernier. Daniela Castro. Carissa Gonzalez. Diane Tiscareno. Debbie Briones. Haley Dorman. Jacqueline Caballero. Joey Chavez. Victoria de la Cruz. Aslyn Rodriguez. Mia Aguirre. Jasmine Gomez. Jocelyn Hagelsip. Genevieve Morales. Alyssa Moreno. Audrey Rios. Savannah Castro. Elizabeth Cruz. Rosendo Vasquez. Natalia Ortega. Alyssa Frescas. Assistant Band Directors and Color Guard Director Cecil Crabtree Spring. Assistant Band Percussion Director Daniel Hunt. Assistant Band Director Raul R.C. Manor Chavira. And they're led by Head Band Director Maximo Sierra. Congratulations once again to the amazing Spartans. As mentioned, Dr. Espinosa, our board trustees, will join the band outside on the stairwell where they're lining up for a group photo. So we'll take an unofficial intermission while we go for our group photo outside.
Hey, that was fun. This is what this is all about. This is the best time of the year, huh, Hector? Congratulating people, that's always nice.
Nobody has any problems if we move the audit report up to,
Nah, I'm okay with it. And I don't know if they told you anywhere else. They went over it in finance, so it'll be probably pretty straightforward.
yeah, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
In front of the public hearing or after?
Probably after the public hearing,
Okay.
once we go with the agenda.
Where's Dr. Espinosa?
Oh.
He did.
Give him an evil look there.
Yeah. You're gonna join us sometime tonight, Dr. No.
They
It
did
was
not.
Tony over there, okay? That's why Tony's over there. You know, Tony, wasn't your fault. It's trying to now, right?
We're gonna put the cabinet tables behind the audience.
Y'all are mean. Okay. We will continue with item number 6, open forum. We have no one signed up to speak tonight, so item number 7 is public hearing. Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Mr. Reza?
I thought we were going to do the audit, so let's see here. I might have to move this quickly, and then we'll come back to this. Here you go. Okay, President Nájera, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. Tonight we're holding a public hearing to discuss the district's financial rating for the 2017-18 fiscal year, and it's based on school data from the 2017 school year. The date of this hearing was published in the West Texas Courier as required by statute. So the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, or FIRST as it is known, was instituted by the 76th Texas Legislature to achieve quality performance in the management of school districts' financial resources. So FIRST consists of 15 indicators, so a school could earn a maximum of 100 points, but must meet the first 5 indicators, which are called critical indicators. And in all, the school district can earn one of 4 possible grade ratings. They are A, superior, with a mathematical score of either between 90 and 100 points. Above standard, B, with a score of 80 to 90 points. C, meets standards, which is from 60 to 79 points. And then F, substantial achievement, with less than 60 points, or if you're not meeting one of the 5 critical indicators. There is no D standard in this rating system, so we'll look at the indicators and the achieved rating. So the first indicator is the financial report that is going to be submitted. Back then, we submitted, the deadline was November the 27th. We submitted on November the 15th. The second indicator really has 2 parts. The first part is the fact that we have a clean audit. And second of all, that you have, that the audit is free of any material weaknesses in internal control. So we went ahead and met that indicator. The third indicator states that the district was in compliance with all payment terms of all debt agreements, and we were. So the fourth indicator requires the district to make timely payments to the Texas Workforce Commission, the Teacher Retirement System, the Internal Revenue Service, and other government entities, and we did. And the fifth indicator pretty much says that we have a net asset balance of greater than 0, and we had $178 million. So we met those 5 critical indicators. Now the sixth indicator asks if the number of days in cash on hand and current investments was sufficient to cover the operating expenditures, and they were. So there's a grading scale, and it says if you have more than 90 days of operating cash, then you get 10 points. If you have below that, then you get 8 points, and that's what we had. We had 84 days of cash, so we got 8 points on this particular indicator. With respect to 7, if the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio is sufficient to cover short-term debt, and it was. Ours was 3 times the requirement, so we have 10 points. And then number 8, the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets was sufficient to support long-term solvency. So our ratio was about 60.16%, and the ratio to get 10 points was 60%. So we just barely missed it. And so that's why we have 8 points for that particular indicator. With respect to number 9, we had, as I mentioned before, 84 days of operating expenses in cash. And the reason I'm mentioning that was because we had a deficit for that particular fiscal year of about $6 million. So when you have a deficit, they want to make sure that you have sufficient cash to be able to meet the needs of the district. So we had 84 days, and therefore we scored 10 points. And so with respect to the 10th indicator, our debt service coverage was sufficient to meet the required debt service, so we scored 10 points. You've seen this before, so I'm going to go that kind of quickly. I hope you don't mind. So with respect to the 11th indicator, our administrative cost ratio was well below the state requirement, so we scored 10 points. Number 12, the districts did not have a 15% decline in student to staff ratio over 3 years, so we met that ratio. The third had to do with the PEEM submission to TA. If the variance was less than 3%, it was less than 0%. I mean, it was less than 1%. The 14th indicator was if the external audit was free of any instances of material noncompliance with respect to grants, contracts, the laws related to local, state, and federal laws, and they were free. And the 15th indicator states if the district did not receive an adjusted repayment schedule, and we did not. So we met that particular indicator. So the Socorro Independent School District received 96 points, met all the critical indicators, and we got an A superior achievement rating. So we want to thank everybody for that achievement. So with respect to disclosures and feedback, first requires school districts to provide certain disclosures with respect to the superintendent's current contract, as well as the board member travel reimbursements and other information for the 2017 school year. Dr. Espinosa's current contract, as well as the board's information, is available on the district's website in the district's accountability tab in the financial transparency section under the first annual management report. So the district is encouraged to visit this website and to review this information. And finally, because this is a public hearing, the board is certainly required to solicit input on this financial rating achieved. And also, is there any questions with respect to this rating that was achieved by the district?
Are there any questions?
I have a comment, but we can do it after the public hearing if anybody wants to speak.
Would anyone like to make a public comment? If no one wants to rush to the podium, then that ends our
Then,
public
Ms.
hearing.
Nájera, I'd like
Thank
to
you.
comment.
Mr. Ayub?
Again, we just had finance yesterday. We went over a number of financial issues. Certainly, congratulations to you, Mr. Ressa, and also all of the members of your team. Year in, year out, we end up with a superior rating. I know that's not easy to do. That takes diligence and hard work. We have mounting pressures on costs and finances and so forth. We just heard that again yesterday, yet you and your team do a great job. So congratulations to you, certainly Dr. Espinosa, for another superior rating. Thank you
very much, Mr. Ayub. And I certainly want to thank my staff for all the hard work, along with the guidance that's provided by Dr. Espinosa, everybody there, as you, the board members as well, and certainly my colleagues to my left and my right for all the work they've helped us in achieving this rating. So it's a total team effort. I want to say
Thank
that.
Thank you, Mr. Reza. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, I also like to thank you for the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting.
Yes, sir.
It's
And we'll-
recognized, and thank you. You kept us out of trouble for a long time. Thank you to you and your team.
Thank you, sir. I do want to say there's an old, I guess, saying from auditors, and it's the tone from the top. And the reason we're there is because of the tone that we get from the top. I just want to make that mention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reza. If there's no objections, we're going to go ahead and move up item 10D, consider approval of audit report for fiscal year 2017-2018. Mr. Reza?
Yes, Dr. Espinosa, Mrs. Nakata, President Nakata, Dr. Espinosa, and members of the board. I really messed that up, didn't I?
He got flustered.
Yeah, I got flustered.
Just when you got a superior thing, and
I
now
know,
it falls
yeah.
apart. Come on.
I can't stand prosperity, no. Tonight, the district's external auditors, Gibson, Ruddock, and Patterson, are here to present the comprehensive annual financial report for the 2018 fiscal year. So presenting the report is Mr. Craig Gibson, our managing partner, along with Mrs. Vanessa Alarcon, manager of the audit. Craig.
Thank you. I really appreciate y'all moving us up. We thought we were going to be really late, but the other district was very nice and moved us way up. So,
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Don't answer that.
Don't go there.
hey, I didn't say a better district, just another district. So.
Smart, Mr. Gibson.
We had some really good discussion yesterday in the Finance Committee meeting. So what I'd like to do is just touch on the high points of the graphs. And if any of y'all have any questions, we can go into a little more detail. The blue section here, this is the comparison of the district revenue. And you can see the blue section represents our state revenue and had a little bit of an increase there based primarily on the increase of the ADA. Then the yellow section represents the federal funding. Again, a little bit of an increase there, relates primarily to food service, which goes hand in hand with the increase of ADA. Then the red section is the local revenue, and we had about a 5% increase in our property values, which translates into property tax. And then we also had about $1.5 million of insurance recovery included in there. Then this graph is basically the same information, but in a percent format. So you can see the blue, which is our state, has been on a slight decline, where the red, which is the local, has been on a slight incline, which is pretty much consistent with other districts in the area as well. Now this one is always a little busy. This is a comparison of the general fund expenditures. So the blue represents the instruction, which is functions 11, 12, and 13. And we have a significant increase there. Within this area, we had 15 million increase in personnel cost, okay? Now, the district did a 3% increase across the board, but this isn't just pay increase. We also added, I think, 261 new teachers to this area. So I mean, it's a huge increase, but it's twofold. We also included in here is the lease of some laptops, which was about $3.5 million. The yellow section represents functions 21 and 23. Little bit of an increase there, relates directly to personnel cost, which also had about 10 new positions. The red section is what we refer to as student support, which is functions 31 through 36. And a little bit of an increase here, which relates directly to personnel as well. The pink sliver there is administrative, and again, a little bit of an increase, which relates primarily to personnel. There were a number of other small factors that contributed as well, but the biggest one was personnel costs. The green section up on the top is what referred to as facilities. It's functions 51, 52, and 53. And a little bit of a decrease here. We did have an increase in our personnel costs of about $1.5 million, But in the prior year, we had a couple of unusual items. They finished up some HVAC projects, and I'm sure there was some roof repairs as well. I don't have any pictures, but we're going to work on that. And then there was also an E-rate project installing wireless in some of the campuses. So this is one of our favorite little graphs, the dollar bill, which kind of shows not so much you guys, because you know what's going on, but the public. You know, I can't tell you how many times I have heard, these school districts spend half the money on administration and nothing on the kids and so forth, and this will shut them up, because it shows 3 cents out of every dollar in the general fund goes to administration. 63 cents goes directly to the classroom. So I think this is an excellent I told you so type thing. This is a comparison of our per student cost from the general fund compared with the per student state revenue. So the blue bars, what we're doing is we're taking total expenditures in the general fund, dividing by ADA to come up with this amount. So you see the increase there. That increase relates directly to the personnel costs. The red line is the state revenue. And you can see a little bit of a bump there. And Tony Ressa can explain that better than I can, but it relates to the funding formula was modified a little bit, so we ended up getting a little more. Now this is a comparison of the general fund's equity. So we refer to it as the fund balance. And the number that we're most interested in is the blue section, which is the unassigned fund balance in the general fund. And then the number down at the bottom tells you how many days of expenditures we have in fund balance. So that's if all of our funding got cut off or delayed, which has happened before, that we could continue on for 101 days. So this is very good. We like you to be over 3 months, and so y'all have been able to maintain that.
Ms. Nahida?
Mr. Nahid?
Mr. Gibson?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you able to offer an opinion, and I understand just your opinion, how many days would we be able to fall before it would start affecting our bond rating? Because we have a good bond rating. We've had the ability to, offer some refunding, financing, because our bond rating has been good. So at what point do you think a reduction of days of expenditures on hand would start to impact that?
Okay. What I have been told is they look at more than just the number of days. So certainly they want you to be over 90, okay? But they also want it to be steady.
Okay.
They do not like to see fluctuations. So, and I'm sure there's a lot more that Ms. Ressa could fill in the gaps there, but my discussions with the rating agencies, it's always been they like to see 3 months worth and very stable.
Okay, thank you, sir.
This next graph is just a comparison of our ADA over the last 5 years, and you can see we've had continued growth, no surprise to any of you. And this is a graph of the workers' comp fund. The blue bar represents our revenue, The yellow is the expense, and then the red line is the equity. And you can see this year that our revenue was significantly below the expense. However, this fund is very well capitalized, and so we still have more than adequate capital in this fund. The healthcare is the one that we've been talking about for the last few years. This year, the revenue is higher than expenses, but if you'll recall, at the end of the year, the board decided to put a $9 million injection into it above and beyond the premium amount. So if you compare last year's revenue to this year's revenue, that's what the difference is. The expenses have been really pretty much the same the last couple of years.
Mr. Candida?
What was that 9 million for again?
Well, come on up.
So Mr. Nájera, what we did is we made a $9 million contribution.
It's
I'm
a compliment,
sorry.
Mr. Gandara.
Mr. Gandara, I'm sorry.
Say thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Gandara. My apologies. So,
We move
so-
an agenda item and it totally
It
throws
did-
you off.
No, it didn't, right? So what we did is we went ahead and used $9 million of unassigned fund balance to contribute into the healthcare fund. And the purpose, yes, so we did a $9 million use of fund balance to contribute at the end of the year into the healthcare fund for our employees to make sure that this fund ended up in the black, that we had so that was something that was done by the district to ensure that we had a positive net balance, net fund position for the workers' comp. For the healthcare fund. So that's what we did.
And
But
the only reason
Mr.
I ask
Ressa,
is that
I'm sorry. Because a negative balance is not allowed, correct?
Exactly. So we ended up with a slight $72,000 negative position in 2017. They had to note that as a footnote on our financials, and when we got the audit results back from TA, they usually mention, okay, we accept your audit. We noted for the fact that the healthcare fund was in the red. So we wanted to make sure at the end of this year that we ended up with a positive position at the end of the year. So we looked at the numbers, we said $9 million should be sufficient. And so we ended up with a $2.3 million net position. But keep in mind that this year, our expenses are running a little bit higher than last year, 2018. So it might be in the same boat again. So,
Sorry, Mr. Gandara.
yes, sir. Any other questions, Mr.? Any other questions, Mr. Gandhi?
no, and the only reason I ask is that we know that this board really does care about the employees in this district and their health care. That a lot of people don't know that out there, that there's $9 million being shifted over from the school district to our employees, because we don't want our employees to come out of pocket with that.
Yes, sir. Again, several years ago, we recommended a change. This board felt, no, we don't want to impact the employees with a major hit. We want to implement this over 3 years, and you directed us to make sure that we provided sufficient support to the healthcare fund to kind of level up that impact and minimize that impact to the employees with respect to changes that we made. So we're in the second year. We'll come back again in the spring to discuss how we stand with respect to our healthcare fund.
Thank you.
So that's the end of the graphs, and there's just a couple other things I'd like to mention. First of all, the audit did result in a clean opinion, which Tony is always happy to hear that. And also there were no findings, which he's really happy to hear that as well. We do make comments in a management letter that has been provided to you in your packet, and they're recommendations for improvement to controls and processes and whatnot. But when you read through them, you'll see they're extremely immaterial. and Mr. Nanjara is always harping on us about why don't we have more stuff in there? Why, these are so immaterial. You guys aren't looking hard enough. And I assure you, we have to look really hard to find those few little things that we have in there. But the one thing that I do want to mention is last year we talked about the fact that staff decided to put together what's referred to as a CAFR, Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, which is the financial statement plus a whole lot of other information. They submitted it to the GFOA and ASBO, and both of them issued a certificate of excellence to this district. So, I would like but that's all we have.
Any questions for Mr. Gibson?
No.
Mr. Gibson, thank you so very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
So President Nájera, may I have a motion to accept the audit as presented, please?
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Ayub and a second by Mr. Gonzalez. Any further discussion?
Ms. Nájera,
Mr. Ayub.
again, at the point of sounding redundant here, again, congratulations to you and your staff on the hard work. The reason we have money and we're solvent is because of the hard work that you do and the many times you say no. I know that sometimes people complain about that. I know Mr. Gonzalez mentioned this, but again, certainly want to congratulate you on both certificates that your department got for excellence in the work that you do as far as our accounting and our budgeting, and keep us moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And again, I want to thank the staff and everybody here. It's a total team effort. It really is. Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
I think Mr. Gibson should hang on to the end of the meeting in case we have questions.
Item number 8, district reports. A, advanced enrollment data. Ms. Croce and Ms. Borrego?
Got you.
Board President Nájera, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. Their name tags are right there, Tony. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. Good evening. Good evening. It's because he got a lot of kudos. No, I'm kidding. Good evening. Thank you for having us here today. We're really excited to present the data. We are going to present today the advanced course enrollment data. More good news, and we always like to hear good news. And I'm doing the easy part. I get to introduce Ms. Grosse, and she's done the hard work. In the last 5 years, we've seen constant increase in the data. It looks great, and it's thanks to her hard work and the example she sets for her teams and for her principals and her schools. They've worked collectively, and you're going to see in the data how beautiful and how much gains that we've made. So please welcome Ms. Grosse.
And she'll get her $20 later. Oh. Thank you, Ms. Borrego, President Nájera, Dr. Espinosa. We're going to present to you the advanced course enrollment for the last 5 years. And you have this presentation in front of you. I know that you can see the growth, the steady growth that we had over the last 5 years on both the advanced placement courses being offered and dual credit. And we wanted to make sure that there was a balance in both courses because we know there's a need for that. We know that there's kids who are going out of state for college purposes. We also know that we have kids that take both at the same time, right? They take the dual credit and the advanced placement courses because it provides those opportunities. But if you can see the data, I know that you see the jump from year, and I'm going to put my glasses back, from year 2014 to 2015. And a lot has to do with the change in testing. We went from the AccuPlacer to TSI, and the preparation of what is being done and also the opportunities that we do at Socorro differently than other districts by allowing our 8th graders to take the TSI and prepare them and use that data to grow and use that data to make sure that kids are college ready by the time they get to be sophomores and then juniors as when they take their dual credit courses. one of the other things that we did in order to see those numbers increase is to provide professional development and to provide support for the advanced placement courses. Again, that balance on both. The next slide also shows the difference now between advanced placement courses and dual credit courses for the last 5 years. As you can see, again, the growth has been steady, and also the courses that we have, I want to point out the 2016, 2017 numbers, and you see an increase on dual credit opportunities. The reason for that is, again, the growth of our early colleges, right? We had Socorro High School come on board. We had Montwood High School and Americas High School. We also had a change in the law, which allow our freshmen to take dual credit courses. In the past, that wasn't the case. We only had the ability to take dual credit if you were juniors and seniors. That law changed at that time, and it allowed us, and that's the reason also that we made the change to provide TSI opportunity at 8th grade. So if there were kids that wanted to take and needed to take dual credit courses, they were able to do so. We also brought in and changed the math sequence at this time in 2016, 2017 to allow support for TSI math. We noticed that that's an area of need, and that need cannot be met just at the high school level. It needs to start at elementary and build on that foundation all the way to middle school and then to high school. We also went ahead and provided professional development. We brought in different kinds of professional development, and Mr. Clark has been instrumental in making sure that professional development is for all, not just, again, for the dual credit as an emphasis on the growth of our early colleges, but our advanced placement numbers as well.
Bless you.
Questions on those two slides?
Any questions?
No.
No? Okay. So this slide is the completion of one dual credit class, and we wanted to do on one so that way it was apples to apples. If you look at the numbers for dual credit opportunities and the completion of those, again, you see dual credit growth and the growth of it going from 6.5% in 2013, 2014 to where we're at right now at 13.8%. We do predict that with the growth of the early colleges, we will be at a 20 to 25% within the next 2 years, and that is above the state, as you can see. It's something that I think sets Socorro, separate from any other district, and certainly providing the opportunities that we do for our kids. And then the last one, I think it's the most powerful slide. This gives you information about by grade level on the dual credit opportunities and what we do. If you look at the course, you see the first year, that 2014 year, that was, again, the law had not changed. The only freshmen that were taking dual credit courses were the students enrolled at Mission Early College, and that's the reason that number looks the way it does. Then you move to the 2015, that's when we started seeing some growth, and then the 2016, that's when the law truly came on board and the impact was there. I know that you see a difference in the junior level course enrollment. The reason that the juniors, you have more juniors taking dual credit is that is when we have a lot of our kids make that decision to enroll in dual credit. We also do an amazing job of preparing kids. This district, 6 years ago, made a conscious decision to create a course called Financial Literacy. That course is provided to all 10th graders, and that course prepares them for this dual credit opportunity. So that's the reason for the jump from 10th to 11th grade. You also see, of course, the growth from the early colleges, but we also see the difference between junior and senior year. This is the partnership work that we have with community college, making sure that kids are taking courses that are required through their degree plan only, that they're only going to need for college preparation, and that is not going to hurt their financial aid. What we make sure is that kids are not taking dual credit courses just for the sake of taking dual credit courses, but that there's a plan and reason for it. And we work hand in hand with EPCC to make sure that happens. We also have a lot of these kids, their senior year, taking both dual credit and AP. Is that balance of both. They don't necessarily go just the dual credit route. They now find a way to balance. You can find a junior. I was sharing this with some of my cabinet members. You can have some juniors taking up to 5 dual credit courses. That is a full load schedule compared to a lot of our regular college students. They're taking 15 hours of college work, sitting in a high school and still doing band, football, and extracurricular activities and doing an amazing job of it. So. And the last slide, I think, that was the last slide. Yes. So I'm going to let Lucy close it up unless you have questions.
Are there any questions?
So to close up, 5 years ago, it seems like a long time ago, I don't know if you remember, I was over secondary. Dr. Espinosa had this vision, this dream for us, and we started 5 years ago with finding teachers that we could credential and making sure, and thanks to him, to his vision and to that seed that was planted, this is how amazing, how many kids' lives, his vision of having those early college high schools in all of our high schools and being able to serve the kids, because it was about the kids, giving all those kids the opportunities, just not certain kids. So it started 5 years ago, and you could see with that vision, with that little seed that was planted by Dr. Espinosa, and it just grew and grew and grew, and you could see now all the fruits of the labor.
Any questions? Dr. Espinosa?
If I may, yes, President Nahara, members of the board, I just want to thank Ms. Grosset, Ms. Borrego, and the entire team. There's a lot of work that has to happen behind the scenes. This is not easy. And again, as you can see, the numbers of dual, not only because of the early college high schools, but the dual credit classes that are offered to our students. In my opinion, there's no charter school that's moving in that can compare with these opportunities that we give our students, free college classes while they are in high school, simultaneously working on their high school diploma. It's hard. It's finding funding to find these teachers to teach these dual credit classes. So I just want to thank Ms. Jose, Ms. Borrego, the entire team SISD, the campuses, for their hard work to provide these opportunities. And the numbers, as you can see, continue to grow. If you can go back to the previous slide where it compares us to the state of Texas, that one right there, as you can see, and it's pretty self-explanatory. There you see the state in blue. As you can see, they're slowly increasing, but there you see the jump in orange for Socorro ISD, and we're going to continue to aggressively push for these dual credit classes so that our students can have these opportunities here in SISD. So again, thank you to the team.
Thank you, sir.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item 8B, Facilities Report. Mr. Inkton?
We should rename this report to the roof report.
I was going to say, do we have pictures of roofs today? The report would not be complete without it.
And Mr. Gibson left. Put them in there just for him. Good evening, President Nahara, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. My report will begin on page 25. The first project is Carrasco Elementary School. This project, as we've been informing you all along since it's been under construction, has been in phases, with the last phase supposed to be completed this month. And we are at that stage, and we are going to be receiving a full occupancy for that, hopefully before the break on the 16th, which is Friday. And so we'll have full occupancy of Carrasco Elementary. You can see in some of the construction expenditures and the status, we still have roughly about $2.3 million in savings coming back on that facility. That might go down a little bit when we close out everything. But I think that's the front with some of the landscaping and the entry canopy into Crosco. There's a kind of a aerial view of it showing the side entry. And then the one on my left is the fine arts room, which is the final phase 3. And then the one on the right, the bigger one that shows the air conditioning ducts. I don't know why somebody took a picture of that, but it also shows that this is the multi-purpose room that will open up into the existing cafeteria. So that project has come to its fruition, and we should be receiving the certificates of occupancies and stuff this week. And then, of course, this is the library, the circulation desk, and the stacks for the books, which is also a part of the final phase. The next project is Socorro High School. We had a very intensive meeting on November the 5th last week at the campus, where we met with a lot of the faculty, staff, the coaches, fine arts people, special ed people, and this brought everybody in. We had 2 sessions going at the same time. So the design development process is really coming together, and that during this stage is where we find out if this was a classroom, what goes in that classroom. Do you need outlets? How many outlets and things like that, so we get down to the details. So we're really working on that. We're also working on getting it a little bit closer within budget too. I have to put that in there. It's on there, so we're working on the budgets. With the construction manager at risk, we're looking at some potential savings as far as maybe instead of 2, the video that y'all have seen before shows 2 separate towers, and there's only a gap, probably not as wide as this room. So we're building 3 walls. Why not enclose that? And it, with a little bit of structure on the 2nd, 3rd floor and the roof, it could be economical in constructing that. So we're looking at some potentials like that, or possibility, and I'll bring that back to you. But that project is moving. I don't think I have any pictures, no. So we're working real closely with the administration, and we do have the auditorium, a little over 1,000. So we're getting it bigger, but it'll be a step-tiered auditorium. And we presented that concept to the fine arts people and Mr. Herbert and all his staff and stuff, and they were amenable to that. The next one is elementary school number 30. It is a lot of work is going on out there. We're doing a lot of perimeter footings, spot footings, working on it naturally underground, and working on the slab in the classroom areas. We also have, as you can see, the little squares or the panels on the slabs. We've got 28 plus panels already poured, and those will begin to be tilted up, and the building will start taking some shape. And in a couple of months, you'll see a roof on top of that. So we are getting partial deliveries of steel and everything as we go. So elementary 30 is coming along, and of course everybody's aware that it is due to open this coming July. The next one is Montwood High School. We had our second community meeting on the 29th of October, and the architect presented 2 schemes. option A, option B. And it was unanimously voted for option A. There was no votes for option B. Now I'm going to show you the two options. It's probably a little small for you to read, but I'll see if I can explain it. This is option A, where basically we are going to do most of the construction out in front of the building. And the blue area would be the new auditorium, and then the lighter green to the side of that will be the band hall, and then we have a second story up there with some classrooms. It basically closes the front of the school and creates that V-shaped gray area is going to be the new lobby or entrance to the school. We haven't really designed that out completely, but then the center green area in the middle is, I know I can point to it here, but you can't see it on the screen. I learned that last
Is that
time.
with the lines go
Yeah,
through
the
it?
one with the various sidewalks or pathways basically is an enclosed courtyard now in the building. So that was,
That's closed, this is open. Closed and then open.
but we're still working on that. I have the architects looking at how that's going to function. What I like about this scheme, it creates the new auditorium. I know we have to work out some service and deliveries and that type stuff to that, but it is a compatible size comparable to our other one. It will not be the same size as Socorro, but it'll be 660, which is East Lake.
Smallwood, so.
What?
Wait, Mr. Arrington?
Real quick,
Yes.
Mr.
Mr.
Arrington.
has a question.
Yes.
We
Real
believe.
quick. So we're building in front of Mountwood High School.
In front.
So right now, where that parking lot is in front, that'll be gone?
No, the parking lot still stays
So
there.
we're pretty much gonna be right against it?
Yes, yes.
So that was my question.
Yeah.
What's gonna be the distance to the curb?
We need to work on that
Oh,
a
I
little
see.
bit. I need to look at that a little bit. Right now, they've got it a straight line, but I think that gray area can have some definition. Maybe it pulls back, maybe it's an awning that sticks out there and creates an entry element there.
So if I understood correctly, the gray area is enclosed, the green with the pathways, that's open.
Yes, in the center, yes, sir, yes.
Oh, it's open.
Oh, okay.
It's open. But there is some hallways and stuff that's why it's kind of hard to see, that connects to the main building with the new construction. That was option A that they looked at. Option B was basically keeping the auditorium in the same location, moved it down a little bit, and then built the fine arts area around the corner. So essentially, we'd have two construction sites. The big concern here was what happened to the sand volleyball pit. They were concerned about that because we were building it on the sand volleyball pit. And,
Moving it to the front.
So, Mr. Arrington, right now, when you pass by Mountwood, you see the two buildings and then you see the walkway on top. Are we enclosing that?
there's going to be a structure in front of that, yes.
No, but right now, we're like, when you see Mountwood High School, you
Yeah.
see the two buildings, you see a walkway on top and then an open section right down the middle.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be enclosed or is it still gonna stay open?
That's going to be enclosed.
All of it?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Well, not the top though, right? That's
No,
gonna be open
no,
top.
no.
It's an open patio in the middle is what you're building.
Yeah, the open patio and stuff stays in the middle area. So, we had about 40 people there, plus or minus, at the deal. And like I said, they all voted for option A. So we're gonna take option A and develop it further, similar to what we're doing with Socorro High School. I mean, it's not all detailed out and stuff. This is a concept that we.
Have you guys made a side view of it though?
No, we have not studied anything elevation-wise yet.
Oh.
That's why I'm anxious to meet with the architects and give them. I think we can do some things. It could be some glass or something up there in the front. But there will be a restrooms in that gray area in either of the option. There'll be a lobby, a receptionist, something that you have to, check in naturally and everything like that. But that's where we're at, Montwood. So we'll continue to develop that, and maybe when the other two high school gets up to that same thing, we'll maybe have a workshop or something so we can show bigger plans and stuff, because I know it's real hard to see it at this scale.
Ms. Nahara?
Mr. Eden.
Well, Mr. Arnett, can we get, I know you've invited me before, can we get notification when you have a community meeting so we can kind of go listen in? I didn't hear of this meeting, and I don't think it was on our packet somewhere.
Yes.
I don't normally intrude, but I kind of like sitting in and listening.
Yes, and I apologize for that. We will do that. In fact, I'll notify you now. We have one tomorrow night at El Dorado. We have one tomorrow night at El Dorado.
I'm sorry, that's not a 48-hour posting period.
I know. That's
Okay,
my
thank you.
next slide.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll do better at that. And normally what we do, we leave it up to the administration at the campuses to notify them, but we'll do better on our part to notify and put it in the board, either a Friday package or something.
Great.
And I know I harp on this, but I realize we're talking about the new construction. Will we be able to talk about the upgrades in the old classrooms at some
Yes.
point? Is that
Yes.
at a later future date?
Yes,
Okay.
by all means. And that came out in the discussions at the community meeting. Okay, America's High School.
Hold on,
Wait, Mr. Rankin.
President,
Yes.
Go back to that, A.
A?
So I want to make sure that I understand this. So if I'm a visitor going to Montwood, the gray area is gonna be the entry, right?
That's going to be your main entry. You come
That
into
gray
that.
area.
Yes, that V shape, yes.
And when there'll be some doors there, I'm in the gray area, I'm
Yes.
indoors.
You're indoors.
Got it. And so
Yeah.
the administrative offices,
The administrative office is still in the location, and
the same location.
they can either come down, and you see that gray area that goes below the blue, that's that's a corridor that will go into the administration area, or you can come out through the atrium or
Patio doors.
patio and
Got it.
come out in that green area and cut across.
Okay.
Yeah. But, like I said, we're still
Still working on
refining
it.
it, working on it. Americas is the one that, I'll give you a little bit bigger note, November the 28th.
You really want me to write this down?
November the 28th will be our first meeting after the Thanksgiving break, and of course, I will notify you on that and let y'all know. But Americas is probably the one is a little bit behind the other three high schools at this point in stage. Like I said, El Dorado will be meeting with the staff and the administration and whoever shows up tomorrow night, and start our first community there. It's going to be a little bit different than Socorro to Montwood, because basically we know in El Dorado, we know where the pieces need to go. So the pieces will be placed, and then we'll start getting input on, once you go into that black box theater, what do you want to see? The cafeteria, of course, can only be added on a certain areas, so how do we want to look at that? It's not as free as Socorro was and then Montwood, where we can move some things around.
This will be more informational?
Yeah, correct. Student Activity Complex. We'll be discussing this a little bit later, but we're still working on the land acquisition on that and anxious to get that started as soon as possible. The multi-purpose room, I will start referring to them as auxiliary gyms because of our meetings with our entities and our fire marshal. If we call it a multi-purpose room, they will make us sprinkle it. because of the assembly requirement. So we'll be referring to it as an auxiliary gym. You know, so, and I need to talk to Ms. Borrego and see if I can meet with our principals Thursday real briefly to update them on it. Oh, I mean, next one over. Okay, she said yes. But I do have some, you know, concepts on what it would look like, exterior-wise, and then, of course, auxiliary gym at the 16 campuses.
Mr. Arrington,
Yes.
are there restrooms with these rooms?
No, no, sir.
No restrooms.
No. They are located close enough to the existing one. In fact, we are going to have to go in there and do some renovations to some of the existing restrooms in order to bring them up to ADA and stuff. So. The support service technology project, it's coming along. We're into schematic designs on that. I don't have any updated presentation information on that. However, they were outside today poking holes in the ground, drilling, doing some geotesting to see, you know, what our soil conditions and stuff is out there. And they'll also be out there tomorrow to do some percolation testing in some of our detentions area. And middle school, the new middle school, and land acquisition, we'll be talking about that. And, oh, we got some press boxes at East Lake High School. This is the baseball fields. This completes our Title IX issue, our thing that we built press boxes at all of the other campuses. We've got, that's a view from the outfield, and then we've got our softball press boxes also completed at East Lake.
That's pretty.
And I know you're really excited about the next pictures. Hail damage. This was the hailstorm that came through about over a year or so ago that took out the video board and stuff and some of our schools. So we got work being done at Drugan, at Options, total re-roof, and that's it. Any questions? Mr. Gibson, I told him I had pictures for him.
Are there any questions?
No, ma'am.
I do. President Nara, Mr. Anson, I know she's in this room, the awesome principal for Elementary 30, Ms. Thomas back there. I know you get asked this question all the time. When, and it's it's kind of a difficult answer, when will that school be ready for Ms. Thomas and her team to move in?
We're shooting for the first part of June. So we're going to give them a little bit more time to move in. We're shooting.
Thank
Yes.
Is she here because she don't have a home now?
Yeah.
No, she wants to stay.
You're recording. Providing we get a name and some colors. I mean, because we can only go so far.
Right.
Before we.
Craig Patton School of Excellence?
That's the plan for tonight, to find a name and colors.
No,
You guys got against Craig.
I have to go back and look at the contract, but I want to take possession sometime in June and give at least 30 days.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Arrington. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item number 9, consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled?
F5,
I'm sorry?
F5, G1, MOUSE.
So you didn't have to vote?
Do you have a motion?
But Michael pulled it.
Motion
Motion to
to approve consent agenda with the exception of F5 and G1.
second.
I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Nahida. Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Item F5.
For F5, we discussed it in Finance Committee, and I think we were looking for some clarification because there were some options. It was a one-year membership fee per member, or there was also a second option of $1,000 for a lifetime membership, and we wanted clarification to see is the lifetime membership specific to the position, or was it specific to the member? And what we discovered, what they found was that it was specific to the member. So, was there anything further, Mr. Ayub, that we had discussed? No. So that was it. It's specific to the member, not the position.
And we can do a member, we don't have to do all 7, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I believe that's correct.
So with that, motion to approve F5, understanding that it is open to anyone who opts to join.
I guess they'd have to notify the superintendent's office. Right?
Yes.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Oh, at what level? At the member. The member, not the lifetime, the member level.
The individual 1 year. Yeah, understanding that the lifetime is specific to the individual, that should not be an option.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Nahida and a second by Mr. Ayub. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All
I
those
abstain.
opposed? I'm sorry?
I abstain.
And the motion carries. Item G1.
I think administration was just going to pull that, right?
Yes.
Administration is pulling that item.
Okay.
Thank you. Item 10, new business. A, consider approval of new school name recommendations for elementary school number 30. Mr. Escobar? Or
Craig Patton.
Dr.
Fighting
Espinosa?
mice.
Not going to happen.
Yes, President Nahida, as per policy CW, I will make the recommendation on this item, and administration recommends the board consider the names identified by the new school naming task force. As presented during our meeting last month at our regular board meeting, the committee identified the top 3 nominations, and they are Cactus Trails Elementary, Freedom Elementary, and Desert Point Elementary.
Motion to approve the name for elementary school number 30 as Cactus Trails Elementary.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Ayub and a second by Mr. Nahida. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
And the motion is approved for elementary school number 30 to be Cactus Trails Elementary.
Cactus Elementary?
Cactus Trails.
Cactus Trails.
At least it wasn't named after the street.
Madam President, as information only, policy CW also outlines identification of a school mascot and colors. Specifically, it states that I will convene a group of stakeholders to make recommendations for my consideration. For efficiency, we tasked a new school naming task force with making this recommendation as well. So with the name approved by the board as Cactus Trails Elementary, and from the recommendation of the task force, the new school mascot will be the Diamondbacks, and the colors will be gray, teal, and white.
Thank you, Dr. Espinosa.
I thought it was going to be a cactus.
Now you can go home, Miss Thomas.
And buy a new gray, teal, and white wardrobe.
Item 10B, consider approval of proposed Socorro ISD boundary adjustments for the 2019-2020 school year. Ms. Macias.
Yes, President Nájera, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. Today I'm here to share with you our proposed boundaries for the 2019-2020 school year. One of the first tasks that I received when I stepped into the shoes was to ensure that if we open up any new schools, that we're not going to close down anytime soon. We wanted to make sure that we were maximizing the use of every single facility, that we were good stewards of resources, and we wanted to make sure that safe and secure learning environment. And with that, I appreciate all the feedback of all the team members that are here. We started our task back in August, and with that, we've met with multiple district stakeholders. We went through 25 faculty, staff, and community meetings to receive feedback. You all received that feedback last week. With that, overall, they understand the why, they understand the need to create capacity for middle school students in the El Dorado feeder pattern. However, of course, as you saw the feedback, they said, do it until my little one is gone. So they understand that piece of it. And with that, however, they were very open to give us feedback and recommendations. With that, with all the feedback that we received, transportation was one of the concerns that they had. And I'll share with you our recommendation as we move forward is to increase our current capacity by 2 transportation routes, or 2 bus drivers, 2 monitors, and 2 buses. And with that, we would be able to meet the questions that they had, which was within the 2-mile radius, and also be able to provide them that transportation between the 2 modified campuses, which is Herschel Antwine Elementary and our new campus, which is Chester Jordan, as far as the transition, and then the one from Paso del Norte to Rafael Hernando. Those were the biggest concerns with the feedback that you all received last week. Today, I'm here to share with you the current boundaries that we have. Currently, as you see, most of our elementary campuses within the El Dorado feeder pattern and Pebble Hills, Pebble Hills feeder pattern, which is Butler Elementary, are over 1,000 students in capacity currently. Our recommendation for the 2019-2020 school year is to make adjustments by building Elementary 30, which is now, and I wrote it down, Cactus Trails Elementary. So building Elementary 30, that for the first time will afford all of our students within the Butler boundaries to actually be able to go to their home campus. Currently, we have over 1,300 students that live in that attendance zone, but now they will be able to go to their home campus. The other adjustment that we're recommending is to the Chester Jordan boundary, which will acquire some of Herschel Antwine, which our recommendation is to transition to a middle school. And it would be to adjust Paso del Norte Elementary from a K-8 to an elementary within a 2-year period. That allows us capacity whenever we built Elementary 29, which is our current Jose F. Carrasco Elementary. We now currently have capacity to do a pre-K hub for the first time in the El Dorado feeder pattern, and our recommendation is for the pre-K hub to be at Duarte Elementary. And this is the next recommendation that we have, which was for our middle schools. Currently, our middle schools are over also 1,000, and that would include our current Paso del Norte K-8, Rafael Hernando, over 1,100 students, and Puentes, which is over 1,000 students. Our recommendation is for our middle schools to have our transition, which would be Edgemere. We would have 2 elementaries and 1 middle school above Edgemere, 2 elementaries and 1 middle school below Edgemere, and this allows us available capacity for Puentes to continue to grow. Again, Pebble Hills is one of our fastest growing areas, just like Eastlake, and I'll be coming back within 2 years to talk about Eastlake and America's feeder patterns. With the recommended adjustments, the 7 boundaries that I just shared, that does allow us the available capacity to continue to grow in this area. These are projections within 5 years with our current, I guess we have like a little formula for our single family and multifamily homes, which is at 0.3 for multifamily homes, which are right in the middle area. Everything that is in pink are all those units that are continuing to come, and we have our single family homes that are also, and we usually project those at 0.6 for every single family home that is on the books. So with this information, our recommendation is for those 7 boundary adjustments, 2 adjustments to campuses, which is Ituarte becoming our pre-K hub, and for Purple Heart becoming a K through 5. Currently, it's a pre-K through 5. And this is what I was sharing with you at the beginning. This was one of the concerns that consistently was presented by some of our parents, which is transportation. We currently have 58 current routes. With the projected or the proposed adjustments, we would have 60 routes. The total estimated cost would be about $300,000. And as presented last week, we also shared the modifications to the facilities, which would be to Herschel Landtwine. The 3-year transition from an elementary to a middle school, and the proposed adjustments equal to about $550,000 for facilities and equipment. So a total estimated cost would be $845,106 to transition Herschel Landtwine to a middle school, and transition Paso del Norte from a K-8 to an elementary to include transportation cost. And with that, every presentation that we have done is on this website. This is something that we have shared with all of our stakeholders. In that way, to give us feedback or anything that, as we've made adjustments, every single presentation is on there to include the ones that were presented to the board and to any community or campus. And with that, I'm here to ask for your approval for the recommendations as presented.
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Macias, I just want to say thank you to you and as well as Mr. Juan Jaime. I know that this is a lot of work, and I know all along the way you have certainly incorporated. I can point to specific areas where we offered feedback, and I can see that it was incorporated. You know, one of the things that we're trying to do, and I know you are as well, is trying to minimize the impact as much as we can, but as a growing district, we have a choice. We can continue to let our schools be over capacity, and I'm sure our fire marshal would come in and shut us down. That also goes against, you know, our strategic objectives, which is a safe learning environment for our students. So as a growing district, we have to do this. There's no other way around it. But we do want to minimize the impact and accommodate as much as we can. There's still a lot of areas to be developed, so I wish I could say that this is going to be the last time, but it's just our reality. We will have to come back and do it again as, you know, the rest of the areas are built. But also, you know, I see that there's natural barriers that have been incorporated. You know, we don't have our school boundaries do not match our sometimes election districts with, you know, weird lines going all the way out in one direction and so on and so forth. So I really appreciate you taking that into consideration, making sure that the boundaries make sense and that they don't, you know, that as much as possible we don't have, you know, houses right next to a school that they could go to, but instead, you know, they're going to a school way across, you know, miles and miles simply because, you know, we're trying to make everything fit. So anyways, just all that to say, thank you.
No, thank you. We have an amazing team.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Hold on. Mr. Gonzalez made a motion, so hold on just a second.
Somebody need a second?
Second was Michael.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you, Mr. Nájera. I have a motion to approve by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. Nájera. Any further discussion?
Yes, President Nájera?
Yes.
I also, Ms. Macias, echo what Mr. Nájera said. He articulated, well, hey, great job to you and Juan Jaime and your entire team. As a superintendent, you know, there's many decisions that I have to make, that we make as a team, as trustees, as cabinet, for this awesome district. And one of the things that's up there that scares me the most is doing this, because you're moving families, you're moving kids, you know, and we read every single comment and they're used to their comfort zone and you have to move their cheese, you know. So how many presentations more or less that you have, Ms. Macias, at these different campuses? Do you recall more or less?
We did 37, sir.
Say it again?
37.
Okay, and you're walking into these meetings with very upset parents. Oh, you're moving me where? So great job to Ms. Macias, our principals, but also for our employees, because when you were in Antoine and you know, it's converting, and PDN is converting, well, the employees are, okay, do I still have a job? Our teachers, custodians. So Ms. Macias and the principals did an amazing job of providing them the comfort that, hey, you're still an amazing member of Team SISD and you will still have a job here in our school district. So, hey, great job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Nájera?
No, go ahead.
Mr. Nájera?
I'm sorry, Ms. Macias, I also want to acknowledge the fact that you did tell the community at community meetings that any comments submitted would be relayed all the way to us, and I want to thank you for making sure that we received those comments inside the binder that we received. You know, they were all transcribed. They were, you know, on different pages for the different meetings. So I just want to acknowledge the fact that, you know, you, at your word, said that we received those comments. We did see them. You know, I know that many of us, or all of us, just like I did, read them. And I can tell, again, by looking at the maps, that you took, you know, as much as you could, those comments into consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ayub?
Again, Ms. Macias, thank you for the hard work that you and your team did, you and Mr. Juan Jaime. One of the reasons I think this evening is going much smoother than may happen in other places is because of the 37 meetings and also 2 very informative board workshops we had, somewhat painful sometimes, but very informative board workshops that really helped us get a good picture, and I think we're all on the same sheet of music as far as what we want to do for our district and how do we want to support our kids without bouncing them around too much and accommodating their needs. And I think what we said, you heard, and you incorporated as much as possible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Macias, it has been a huge undertaking with all departments involved, Mr. Mesa with transportation, and everyone has done a fantastic job involving our community and our staff, and we can't thank you enough. When I spoke to Mr. Juan Jaime at the workshop last week, and I said, I bet you're glad this is almost over. He goes, oh no, I'm ready for Eastlake next.
Wait, Mr. Juan Jaime speaks?
He did.
He's always there quiet.
But we are deeply grateful for all of your hard work. Thank you very, very much. And with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Macias. Item 10C, consider approval of permission for water drainage agreement submitted by Quality Supply. Mr. Ironton.
Yes, President Nájera, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. On page 129 of your booklet, back a couple of weeks ago, we had a gentleman, Mr. Quinones, approach me about he is relocating his business next door to a vacant lot that is next door to Options High School. And currently that lot basically drains onto our site, and we have a collection area that takes it to a flume and drains it off. He has asked permission to tie into that structure, and I questioned, you know, what is he going to be doing over there? What type of business it is? And it's just a sales business. There's no manufacturing trucks and stuff like that. And he has a letter. I think it's in your package of basically what he is asking to do. And I contacted Mr. Blanco, our legal counsel, and quizzed him on it to see, can we do this pending board approval, and then what do we have to do? Some of the concerns I had was, we just don't want somebody to come in there and put a ditch in there and walk away and that's it. So there would have to be some civil engineering done and some structure built and stuff. So with that in mind, he has Mr. Mr. Blanco and I.
Some about last names today.
And drafted up a letter and sent it back to him with, basically saying that it would be his sole cost, engineering and construction, and then if he does come onto our site, he has to, we have to grant him that easement and stuff. And basically, he's just wanting to know if he could do that. If not, he would probably have to do something drastic to his site in order to retain his water and stuff. But if he has met with the city has agreed to conceptually what he has done, and he has indicated in his little package the little flume that he would construct. It would be concrete and to tie into ours. So administration is asking for approval, if y'all agree to it. If not, some directions so I can go back to him and converse with him. But legally, we're okay as per our legal counsel.
Ms. Nájera?
Mr. Nájera.
Mr. Blanco? Once we grant this easement, is it revocable?
I don't think he would want it to be. We haven't got that far in the negotiations with him, but generally speaking, they would not be. Okay. It's my understanding that what he wants to do is construct a concrete channel that will link up with the existing drainage channel. The idea being that if it's done, it actually improves the drainage and the runoff that is currently going into the Options High School area. So there's a benefit to the school district for that. We have not discussed a cost or a charge to him for the easement that he would need to connect to the channel. And what we have told him is only that we'll allow it if the board agrees, and you can add cost and expense to it if you want to. Everything being done at his sole cost and expense, all the engineering being done at his sole cost and expense, all the permitting and approvals from the city being secured by him or his company, and that the easement will only be for the flow of water. Right. It doesn't have any other rights to use the channel or any other property options. It's just simply he can divert water from his site into our existing channel.
So is the easement granted to him as an individual, or is it granted then to the property?
It would go with the property.
So my question would be is, okay, so he sets this up, right? That area right there, including the property that we have, is popular for trucking areas. So what happens if we grant this request of water drainage agreement, and 2 years from now he sells the property or leases it to a trucking company who then starts to use that yard to repair vehicles, and then all of a sudden we're not just getting water, but we're getting oil and diesel runoff, et cetera. At that point, would we be able to revoke it, or are there other environmental protections to us?
There can be a restriction on the easement for the type of discharge. I haven't gotten that far into the planning with Mr. Ironton in terms of how you would test that down the road, but certainly you could say that it has to be for the current use, and the intended purpose is limited to retail where there's no discharge of any type of waste or hazardous materials, any oil. We can include that in the easement agreement, but it would go with the property.
Yeah. Okay. And then you mentioned, I think, Mr. Ironton, cost. It sounds like it's just a tie-in. As I imagine it, we've got a concrete canal or something like it, and he just needs to build something from his side of the property over to ours. I don't imagine that there would be any costs for our side of it. Really, we're not going to use.
We wouldn't expect there to be. I don't know if you all have the picture in your book. So this is the current channel, this large gray area. Mm-hmm. This is the school or the options facility. His site's being developed here. He's proposing to run drainage to connect into there. The idea being that it removes some of the drainage that would come off here. I don't know what he's been told by the city in terms of his requirements to develop that property for drainage. They may have told him that he needs a retainage pond or something to handle the water runoff because it's being developed. The stormwater requirements require that when you develop land and property, if you put concrete and there's a surface on which water will pool or run, then you have to create a drainage pond. So that's my guess, is he's being told he has to create a drainage pond. He'd rather not do that. If he can secure an agreement from us, he can probably run the water down to where it's going now.
Right, because then he loses, probably if he has to put a pond on his property, he loses a significant, amount of land that he would have to dedicate to the ponding area. I would assume it also benefits us because right now, there's probably water running in our direction from that particular area as well. Mr. Harrington, I remember, I don't remember very much, but I do remember at one time our water utility rate or something like that, we get a charge for the amount of water runoff that goes into the drainage system or something like that. Am I remembering that wrong? Is that going to be impacted because we allow, the gentleman next to us to direct his drainage into our?
No, I don't think so. But I'll check that. But I don't think it's going to impact us. No.
And what about?
That's the stormwater requirements, and that's not metered. That's
yeah.
developed area. The land can adjust and cause water to flow. So I don't think allowing.
No.
It's not capital. It's not our problem.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Harrington, is there any reason that at least you know of at this time that we wouldn't want to do this?
No, it's between the building and Options High School, and that area is kind of, it's for a drainage. It's, this will probably improve the function of it, like Mr. Blanco has stated, and it'll improve the aesthetics and stuff, having a flume in there.
Do we know, or do we have, or would it serve us well to see the design before we approve this?
Yes, we'll require that or request that, yes.
So with that, can we then just table this to a future meeting where we would be able to review that information? I mean, is this time sensitive? I don't think there's any reason for us not to approve it, but I'd rather consider this item with all the information in hand so that we know exactly, what we're approving and what it's going to look like rather than just, granted at this point. And
Mr. Gunn.
I understand what Mr. Nakida's saying, but we did put a school in an industrial area. Whatever that site's going to be, it's going to be industrial. Even if it's, I'm sorry, but if I was that owner and now as a school district, we're starting to restrict him, that's kind of rough, man. That's kind of bad. I don't want to restrict somebody that's, because we put a school in an industrial area, now we're trying to restrict the people that, that own the properties there and that are trying to, build what they want to build.
Oh, they can build.
Well, I know, but if we're trying to
We're not
restrict.
restricting them. They're going to use our water drainage.
Ms. Nakada?
But the water drainage
Mr.
is.
Being a real estate matter, I'd like to make a motion to postpone item 10C to after item 11.
Second.
Yes, sir, I want to talk to the attorney about this.
Okay, then we'll need to, when you read out the closed session item, when you read out the closed session item, include the discussion of this item in closed session.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I need a second on that?
I did.
Yeah, you did. He seconded.
I have a motion by Mr. Ayub, a second by Mr. Nahida to move this item to executive session. All of those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Item 11, executive session. The meeting is to be closed for consultation with legal counsel to discuss personnel and real estate matters under Texas Government Sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074, and to include discussion on new business item 10C. We are adjourned. The time is 8:29.
Board meetings at their best.
We are back from executive session. The time is 9:35. Item 10C.
No action.
So that's it.
Okay, and that's it. And if there's no further business before this board, that we are adjourned. The time is 9:36.
And you all waited for nothing, so see?
I told you I had a motion to adjourn.
You guys could have been home earlier. Look at you.
He told me I had to call it.